Good morning, everyone. Our topic for today is Lesson 16-2, Classify Quadrilaterals. And you will find this lesson on page 857 up to page 860 from your book. Here are the learning objectives for today's lesson. You're going to classify quadrilaterals by their properties and solve more problems related to classifying quadrilaterals with speed and accuracy. What are some properties of quadrilaterals? Categories of quadrilaterals are classified by their properties, just like how many pairs of opposite sides are parallel, which sides have equal lengths, and how many right angles are there. Okay, to make you understand easily how to classify quadrilaterals, I will use this family tree, okay, or what we call the hierarchy in classifying quadrilaterals. So when we say quadrilaterals, it means these are all polygons having 4 angles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 angles and 4 sides. Okay, so any shapes having 4 sides and 4 angles is what we call quadrilateral. That's why parallelogram is a quadrilateral because there are 4 angles and 4 sides. Rectangle is also a quadrilateral because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. Rhombus is also a quadrilateral because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. And a square is also a quadrilateral because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. Trapezoid is also a quadrilateral because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. And kite is also a quadrilateral because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. Isosceles trapezoid is not included from your book, so no need to focus on this part. Okay, so those are the examples of quadrilateral. Now, let's proceed to a parallelogram. When we say parallelogram, it means there are 2 pairs of parallel sides. So this one and this one are parallel. That is the first pair. This side and this side is also parallel. So that is the second pair of parallel sides. So parallelogram having 2 pairs of parallel sides. Okay, and parallelogram is a family of quadrilateral because parallelogram has 4 sides and 4 angles. Now, let's proceed to a rectangle. Rectangle has 4 right angles. Okay, so there are 4 right angles. Now, is a rectangle is also a parallelogram, a family of parallelogram? Yes. Why? Because when we say parallelogram, it means there are 2 pairs of parallel sides. And rectangle have 2 pairs of parallel sides. So this is the first pair and second pair. Okay, now, is a rectangle is also a family of quadrilateral? Yes, because there are 4 sides and 4 angles. So it means a rectangle is a parallelogram and a quadrilateral. Again, parallelogram is a quadrilateral, rectangle is a parallelogram and a quadrilateral. Okay, now let's proceed to rhombus. Rhombus is a quadrilateral. Why? Because rhombus has 4 sides and 4 angles. Now, rhombus also is a family of parallelogram. Why? Because when we say parallelogram, 2 sides or 2 parallel sides, okay, having 2 pairs of parallel sides. So rhombus have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Okay, so this is the first pair of parallel sides and this is the second pair of parallel sides. Okay, so another properties of rhombus, all sides are equal. Okay, so that is rhombus. Again, rhombus is a parallelogram and rhombus is a quadrilateral. Okay, next, a square. A square, as you can see, there are 4 right angles. Okay, so there are 4 right angles. That's why if there are four right angles and two pairs of parallel sides, so square is a special rectangle because rectangle has four right angles and also two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, so square is a rectangle. Square is a parallelogram because there are two pairs of parallel sides, and square is a quadrilateral because there are four angles and four sides. Now, square is a rhombus? Yes, because square, all sides are equal. Rhombus, all sides are equal. Square is a parallelogram and quadrilateral. Rhombus is a parallelogram and quadrilateral. Only the difference between the square and rhombus, square having four right angles but rhombus don't have. Okay, so let's proceed. Kite. When we say kite, no sides are parallel. So kite is only a family of quadrilateral. Okay, and trapezoid, there is only one pair of parallel sides. Okay, why the other side is not parallel? Because if you're going to continue the line, they will intersect, they will meet, and they will cross. Okay, now, is it possible that a trapezoid can have two right angles? Yes, possible. So this is an example. Okay, yes, that is an example. So I have two right angles here, and there is one pair of parallel sides. So this side is not parallel because I'm going to continue that line and continue this line. They will meet, they will cross, and they will intersect. Okay, so those are the family of quadrilaterals and the relationship of the other quadrilaterals. Now, how are square and rhombus alike? As I told you, both figures have all sides of equal length. And how is a trapezoid different from a parallelogram? A trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides. In question number 3 to 6, use as many as possible to identify each polygon and tell which name is most specific. Okay, so as you can see in question number 3, that is a square. And a square is the family of rectangle, family of rhombus, family of a parallelogram, and quadrilateral. That's why this is a square, quadrilateral, parallelogram, rectangle, and rhombus. And the specific name is a square. Another, this is a rectangle, number 4. Rectangle is a family of parallelogram and family of quadrilateral. That's why rectangle is a parallelogram and quadrilateral. Number 5, that is a rhombus. When we say rhombus, it is a family of parallelogram because it has two pairs of parallel sides, and it is also a quadrilateral because having four angles and four sides. Okay, and next is what we call a parallelogram, and parallelogram is a family of quadrilateral. Okay, when we say parallelogram, two pairs of parallel sides. Let me continue. Question number 7. Identify the polygon using as many names as possible. So as you can see, that example is an example of a rhombus. And rhombus is a parallelogram because there are two pairs of parallel sides. And rhombus is also a quadrilateral because it has four angles and four sides. Okay? Question number 8. Identify the polygon using as many as possible. So that is an example of a trapezoid. And when we say trapezoid, there is one pair of parallel side. And trapezoid is a quadrilateral. Okay? Question number 9. Why is a square also a rectangle? Because a square, okay, or a rectangle is a parallelogram with four right angles. Since a square is also a parallelogram with four right angles, so it is also a rectangle. In question number 10, which special quadrilateral is both a rectangle and a rhombus? Explain how you know. So a square is a rhombus because It is a parallelogram with all sides of equal length, and a square is a rectangle because it is a parallelogram with four right angles. Question number 11. Each time Sophie makes a cut to a polygon, she can make a new type of polygon. What kind of polygon is left if Sophie cuts off the top of the isosceles triangle shown? So as you can see, this one is an example of isosceles. If Sophie cut this one, so it looks like this. Okay, so what shape is this? So that is what we call a quadrilateral or trapezoid. Okay. Question number 12. Donald's car gets about 30 miles per gallon. About, so when we say about, it means you're going to estimate. About how many miles can Donald drive on 9.2 gallons of gas? Then, at $3.15, okay, 3 and 15 hundredths dollar a gallon, about how much would that amount of gas cost? So, if I'm going to estimate 9.2, this becomes about 9. And 3.15 is about 3. So in order to find out about how many miles can Donald drive on 9 gallons, so I need to multiply 30 multiplied by 30 miles per gallon. Then 9 gallons multiply 9 multiplied by 30, that is equivalent to 270. Okay, then in order to get the amount, I just simply multiply 9 multiplied by 3, and that is equivalent to 27. That's why the answer is about 270 miles, and the payment or the money that he needs to pay is about $27. So that is the money that he spent. Okay, so that is the answer for question number 12. Next, question number 13. Is it possible to draw a quadrilateral that is not a rectangle but has at least one right angle? Explain. So the answer is yes, because a trapezoid can have two right angles, and trapezoid is considered as a quadrilateral. Number 14. The area of a quadrilateral is 8.4 square feet. Find two decimals that give product close to 8.4. So the sample answer is we're going to multiply 1.4 multiplied by 6.1, and the answer is close to 8.4. Okay? Next, number 15. Suppose you cut a square into two identical triangles. What type of triangles will you make? So when you cut a square into two identical triangles, that is considered as a right isosceles triangles. Number 16. A parallelogram has four sides that are the same length. Is it a square? Explain how you know. So the answer is the parallelogram is not necessarily a square. It could also be a rhombus. A square is a parallelogram with four equal sides and four right angles. Okay? Next, question 17. Which could be the side length of a parallelogram? So we all know that parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides. So the answer is letter B, because two sides are parallel. Okay? We have 1 meter and 1 meter and 5 meter and another 5 meter. Next, question number 18. Which of the following statements is not true? So the correct answer is a trapezoid has no parallel side, because a trapezoid has one parallel side. Now, let's continue. So in this video, as you can see, I combined the two lessons, lesson 16.2 and lesson 16.3, because this is only one concept, classifying quadrilaterals, okay? So in lesson 16-3, the title is Continue to Classify Quadrilaterals. So we have the same objectives here, okay? So you will find this lesson on page 863 up to page 866 from your book. So how are special quadrilaterals related to each other? So this family tree shows how special quadrilaterals are related to each other. And I told you, I discussed that already in the previous slides. So quadrilateral, these are the family of quadrilaterals. We have the parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square, and trapezoid are all families of quadrilateral. And parallelogram is a quadrilateral. Rectangle is a parallelogram and quadrilateral. Rhombus is a parallelogram and quadrilateral. Square is a rectangle. Square is a rhombus. Square is a parallelogram. And square is a quadrilateral. And trapezoid is also a family of quadrilateral. So each branch of the tree shows a subcategory of the figure above. A square is a type of rectangle. All rectangles are parallelogram. So a category can have more than one subcategory. So each figure shares all of the properties of the figures above it. So a square and rectangle have four right angles. All of the figures below the parallelogram have two pairs of parallel opposite sides, just like a rectangle, rhombus, and a square. That's why rectangle, rhombus, and a square is a family of parallelogram, because they are all having two pairs of parallel opposite sides. Let's answer this. Explain how the family tree diagram on page 864 shows that every square is a rectangle. So what is the reason why every square is a rectangle? So since a square is below a rectangle in the family tree diagram, so every square is an example of a rectangle. How are a rectangle and a rhombus alike? So both rectangles and rhombuses are all parallelograms. They are having both sides parallel, opposite sides. Okay? So tell whether each statement is true or false. All rectangles are squares? That is false. It should be all squares are rectangles. Every rhombus is a parallelogram? That is true, because they are having both of pairs of parallel sides. Parallelograms are special rectangles? That is false, because parallelogram is only a quadrilateral. Trapezoid can be square? The answer is false, because trapezoid have one pair of parallel sides and a square have two pairs of parallel sides. Next, write whether each statement is true or false. All rhombuses are rectangles? The answer is false, because rhombuses or rhombus is only a family of a parallelogram and a quadrilateral. Number 8. Every trapezoid is a quadrilateral. The answer is true, because when we say trapezoid, it means having four sides and four angles. Rhombuses. Rhombuses are special parallelograms. So the answer is true, because a rhombus is a family of a parallelogram and a quadrilateral, because they are having two pairs of parallel sides. All rectangles are quadrilaterals? Absolutely yes, because having four sides and four angles. Number 11. What properties does the shape have, and why is it not a parallelogram? So this shape is what we call a kite. So it is a quadrilateral with two sets of equal non-parallel sides, and parallelograms have two pairs of equal parallel sides. Why is a square also a rhombus? Because both are parallelograms with four equal sides, and the square is found under the rhombus in the family tree diagram. Let's answer the mathematical practices and problem solving. Draw a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides and two right angles. Explain why this figure is a trapezoid. So, because it is a trapezoid because it has one pair of parallel sides. Okay? So, if I'm going to draw a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides, okay, so it should be like this. Okay, so this is one pair of parallel sides. Now, A reflecting pool is shaped like a rhombus with a side length of 6 meters. What is the perimeter of the pool? Explain how you found your answer. Always remember that when we say perimeter, it means this is the total measurement of all the sides. So the answer is 24 because rhombus has 4 equal sides. So 6 multiplied by 4, that is equivalent to 24 meters. Number 15. A bakery sold 31 bagels in the first hour of business and 42 bagels in the second hour. If the bakery had 246 bagels to start with, how many bagels were left after the second hour? So the total is 246, and in the first hour of business, he sold 31, and in the second hour he sold 42. So what are we going to do is we just simply add these two, 31 plus 42, that is equivalent to 73. Then we're going to subtract from 246 in order to get how many bagels were left after the second hour. And the answer is 173 because 246 minus 73 is equivalent to 173 bagels. If you're going to check your answer, you just simply add 173 plus 42 plus 31. The total is 246. Question number 16. Anne says the figure below is a square. Pablo says that is a parallelogram. Felix says that is a rectangle. Can they all be right? Explain. Yes, they are all correct. Squares are parallelograms, rectangles, and rhombuses. Jeff says the figure below is a rhombus. Is Jeff correct? Explain. The answer is no, because the figure does not have all sides the same length. So that is not a rhombus. That is what we call a parallelogram and quadrilateral. So that's it. Thank you so much and have a nice day.